Sadly, you look like you got some sunshine. Welcome back, though, to the US of A. Love it. All right. Well, today is a big day. We have new forms out, everyone. So we will put in the chat box. Just want to make sure everybody has this on your radar. We will put in the chat box the link to Anne's recording on training. And slides and everything that you need, but we are going to be running with this starting today. So please learn, ask questions, get in the know, all of the good stuff. But we have 2 chapters left in High Road Leadership. And today, Ben begged me. He begged me to speak on Huddle, begged me. He's like, please, Teresa, let me speak on Huddle. Monday morning, and I said, oh, Ben, you don't have to. Are you sure? And he just insisted. And so I'm so thrilled because he is reading this book as well on his own. And I found out about that. So Ben is going to be bringing us Don't Keep Score. Now, that is not about child sports. You should absolutely keep score in child sports. So don't get confused. But Ben Baker, take it away.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me speak today. Inside joke. I can tell you, so chapter 11 was, I think was entitled Don't Keep Score. And I can tell you, because I think it's where my mind is, I want to start by acknowledging how sad I believe our KW family is with the loss of our brother, our partner, our stakeholder, Scott Watson. And it's so funny because it's not funny, but now there's at least 3 or 4 people on here that know Scott way better than me. But I can tell you one thing that Scott never did was keep score. I saw this guy typically around a bar situation. I saw Scott love on people. I saw Scott pay, and he never expected anything back. And I think that's what being a leader, a high road leader, is all about. And it's not, he didn't do and or give thinking that he was going to get back. He just gave and gave and gave. And so I want to start by acknowledging that. So now off. John Maxwell started with a story that I think could resonate with many of us. And he and his wife lived in this small town. I think he was pastoring a small church. And the story goes, there was a big time businessman, right, in the community that invited John and his wife out to eat at a restaurant about 20 miles away. And what I heard was a couple of things there. John was making $80 a week, right? $80 a week as a pastor at this small church. His wife worked 3 jobs. His wife worked 3 jobs. And in my mind, what I heard was, have a partner or a significant other or a wife that's ride or die, that's by your side, right? Willing to do whatever it takes, because I see so many of us today complaining about what we don't have from work we don't put in, right? We're not willing to do the work, and yet we still complain. So that's what I heard in listening to this. But again, the successful businessman takes them out to eat and says, John, order whatever you'd like. He orders the most expensive thing on the menu, this T-bone, right, with all the trimmings, and even had pie at the end. And they repeated this week after week after week. And I mean, it was a highlight of, John and his wife of their week. 3 years later, when John decides to take another job, right, I guess maybe move to a bigger church, this successful businessman is the last to approach him as folks are congratulating them and telling them how sad they are that they're leaving. And this businessman, he approaches and he's upset and he's crying. And he said a few words that just resonated with John for the remainder of his life. And it was, I cannot believe that you're leaving after all that I've done for you. And he realizes at that point that, the businessman had been keeping score. And I think it soiled everything from that point on, because he thought that he had been given freely of his time, of his conversation, of his, wealth, and generosity. But John realized that there had been strings attached. And I think there's a lesson for us all there. And I'm done. No, I'm not. um, John said from that point on, he never let anyone pay for a meal, because he didn't want to feel, I guess, like he owed them. And again, it reminded me, out of all the events that I host, typically I've never let anybody. And I think that when you have any level of success in this business, there are a number of people who want to approach you, and say, "Hey, Teresa, can I do this?" Or, "Hey, Ben, can I do that or pay for that?" And I've just not allowed that in my business. And I realize it's because I don't want to be beholden to someone. I don't want to feel like I owe someone. And that story right there reminded me of that, especially after this weekend. I hosted an event, and I invited some of my, lender partners and others. I invited them, and a few of them came. And at the end of the brunch, they were pulling out their credit cards, and I was like, no, no need. I mean, this is all me. And the smile on their face it was large. I think because they're so used to doing, especially for agents. But again, that's not the relationship that I have with those folks. I wanted them to know that no, we're in this together, and it's not about me always taking, taking, taking. Matter of fact, in those relationships, I typically don't take it all. I make sure that I give, because I don't want those strings attached. Um, John said, I guess there are six keys, and I had to write a couple of these down, because Teresa knows that one of my problems with all the books that I read and or listen to is retention. If I don't at least, write down a note, I will completely forget everything that I've read. And so he gave us six. I think there were six keys to being a high road leader. And number one is, let's see, if you're keeping score, it puts guilt on others. And I feel like it's a bit manipulative, and can kind of shame you when you realize that, you're not keeping up. Ben is always doing, always doing, always doing, and and you're not doing enough, right? There's some shame involved in that. There's some manipulation. So let's not do that, team. Number two was, it creates feelings of unfairness. And I think that, again, it goes back to trust issues. Just not being genuine. Why are you doing these things for me? Right. So let's not do that. I think he says that's low road leadership, right? And we always want to take the high road. So number three was, let's see, it to me, it's an act of control. And any of your friends, any of your business partners, when they say, you owe me, then we realize, oh dang, they've been keeping score on me, right? And then in your mind, you're like, well, how in the world will I ever catch up? Again, you question yourself, and I think there's trust, um, there, that then you realize that, like, maybe we weren't as close friends as I thought we were. Maybe we weren't as close business partners, because at some point now they expect me to pay a debt, right? That might be too large to carry. So number four was, uh, by keeping score, it removes the gratitude by poisoning the attitude, is what I heard there. And I thought that could be a hip hop song, I think, right? So that's how I remember it. Um, when we think that, Teresa's just, she's so sweet and she's always giving, and she is, right? Um, we realize there's been strings the whole time. The whole time she's been given, that there are strings attached, and that then will poison the attitude. When I think when gratitude is low, then when gratitude, how am I trying to say this? I think when gratitude is challenged, then attitude becomes very low, right? So let's not do that. Number five is, by keeping score, it increases the emotional baggage that we have to carry, and then we realize that at some point it's too heavy, and I think we let it go, and we realize that it it can affect the relationship, it can affect the business relationship, and because carrying that burden is just, it's too much. It's too much physically, it's too much emotionally, and it's draining. So high road leadership, that's what this is all about. And number six, let's see, what do you say? Keep score. Um, mm, okay, keeping the score, it leads to entitlement. I've given so much, right? I've given, and now it's your turn. It's time for me to start taking, right, or receiving, because all I've done is give. And you realize that, yeah, that creates it's my turn, that feeling of entitlement. And now I'm sick and tired of giving, right? Um, again, I think that's low road leadership, is what he said. So let's be mindful of those things. Now, I think I'm about done. Okay. Um, there are three, there are three things. I think he finished with uh, continuing to be a high road leader. And number one was, let's keep track without keeping score, right? Um, Keeping track is about me and my behavior. Keeping score is about you, right? And I think um, it is way too hard. And I think our fearless leader understands it's way too hard um, to help teach, learn, grow others. She's so good at knowing who she is, and it's good to be a great you. It's very difficult to be a great everybody else. So I think focus on you. Again, let's give. Let's just give without expecting. Right. Number two, forgive everyone. Forgive everyone. And he says, because we all need it, regardless of who we are, the statue that we have. We all need forgiveness. And number three, let's practice the platinum rule, not the golden rule, which we are all familiar with, but the platinum rule is, we want to treat others better than I think than they even treat us, right? And I think here I'd say at Keller Williams, and especially Dallas Preston Road, it's one reason why I feel like I am unrecruitable, is because I've seen this company in action time and time again. I've seen them give to not just me and others, and not because of an expectation, not because they're trying to keep me here because I could go anywhere I want, but because I've seen it in action. I'm unrecruitable. I've seen them reach out in times of high and low, and they never waver. It's all about service. It's all about giving, and that's what makes this place so special to me. So um, I think that's probably, I think that's a great spot for me to end it right there. So continue to be a high road leader, because I think, what do I say almost each and every week, right? And continue to surround yourself with eagles that soar high, and we've got hundreds and hundreds of those folks in this office all day, every day, and I'm so blessed to be a part of such an amazing team. Peace.
Ben, you're awesome. Thank you. You are a high road leader and you exemplify that so very well in every way. So thank you. Thank you. And thank you for starting just honoring Scott. What a beautiful tribute. And I could not agree with you anymore just on your words about him. And truly, he is a high road guy all the way and just best of the best. So if you don't know, Scott and Tammy Watson, they've been with our market center for ever. I mean, many, many, many years, longtime Keller Williams agents, always a top group in our company, sell a lot of real estate and, you know, an MREA team. Scott and Tammy have been married for many years as well and have 2 grown children. And Scott found out at family reunion that he was that he had cancer and he passed away on Friday. So if you can imagine the I don't know, just the whirlwind and devastation, of course, that is to his immediate family, but it's a huge loss for all of us at Dallas Preston Road. He was one of us and Tammy is one of us. And so if you know them, please reach out to Tammy. You know, don't expect necessarily a response right now, but however you feel comfortable reaching out, I know she'll appreciate the love, not just this week, but in the days ahead. That's always when it matters the most, I think, is, you know, all the well wishes come right away, but it's the, you know, when we're in community, we go through that with the long haul with people. So Kennedy put his service information. It is Friday afternoon. So we wanted everyone to be aware of that so that you can, if you know them, attend that and be a part of that with us. Okay, just real quickly, I know we're a little over this morning, but real quickly, we've got a big week of great things happening. So tomorrow we've got a social media class with Amanda Ryan in the afternoon. That is going to be really good. She does a lot of her business through social media, has a really great perspective on that. And then we have committee day on Wednesday with seller optionality being taught afterwards. So again, please wear your red on Wednesday and let's get into the training room for some good times together. We've got birthdays on Thursday that we're celebrating. And of course, all of the contract classes and all of that. So just be looking for emails with some more information on how you can continue to learn and get brought up to speed. But a week from Wednesday, our Wednesday at 11, it's the 3rd. So I know some of you may already be traveling for 4th of July fun, but we'll be doing contract training for our Wednesday at 11 meeting on the 3rd. So that will give you another opportunity to hear it again. Janice will be teaching that. She'll be going through the red line forms, talking about specifically what we're putting in those blanks. It's an opportunity for you to ask questions after you have been out there in the field with it for, you know, a week. Okay. Daniel, I'm going to throw it to you so you guys can practice some conversations. We'll be back tomorrow morning to close out High Road Leadership. Love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for being on this morning, and we'll see you tomorrow.